Stay connected as we discuss shared passions and firsthand experiences intended to enlighten, entertain, and encourage you to try new things. This is not a how-to, this is a why you should. Welcome to the You Should podcast.
Sounds good to me.
That was a good one.
All right, welcome to the show, You Should podcast. Tonight we're drinking Electric Limbs. This is a hazy. We're going to sip on this for a bit, and we'll let you know what we think of it shortly. All right. Tonight's guest is a former Marine whose discipline could sharpen a bayonet, whose positivity could light up a field tent, and whose attention to detail would make a drill instructor nod in approval. He's proof that leadership isn't about rank. It's about presence, energy, and purpose. The kind of man who still stands taller when he hears the anthem play and sees each day as a mission worth accomplishing. He's a warrior, a motivator, and a Marine who brings out the best in everyone around him. So stand tall, raise your glasses, because today we're talking about the 250th Marine Corps birthday with our guest, Ricardo Rios.
Well, thank you for those kind words. But yeah, just a regular dude trying to serve our country, but yeah, no, I'm happy to be here. I'm excited. I'm excited about this topic. This is something that I really feel a lot of passion about, is that Marine Corps birthday. I mean, that to me means more than my actual birthday. So this is going to be good.
Yes, sir.
This is going to be good.
So Ricardo, what is the Marine Corps birthday?
Well, for me, I mean, we can take a look at what the structure is as far as, the traditions and things like that. The Marine Corps birthday, November 10th, 1775, started in a bar, Tun Tavern, Philadelphia. I mean, that alone is very unique. But I guess it all went back to the approval of the Second Continental Congress. And basically what they did is they wanted to create 2 battalions of Marines. And the battalions were designed to have both amphibious and land capabilities, right? So the first recruiting station was at Tun Tavern in a bar.
Dang.
So yeah, that's pretty wild.
That's crazy.
Perfect place.
Yeah. Been living up to the reputation ever since, right?
Perfect place, yeah.
And as you guys, well, let me ask you this. How should I address you guys? As Marines? Is it former Marines?
That's a great question, because the Marines are a little bit different. Once you're a Marine for life. That never changes.
Yeah, I get that, because the guys that I know that have been Marines, that's exactly how they are. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I think we would typically correct you and say it's a former Marine, not an ex-Marine. Former isn't no longer active, but still holding true to the principles of the Marine Corps.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So what led you to joining the Marine Corps?
I was a little bit older. Usually, people try to enlist when they're 18. I was already in my 20s, but I kind of did like a little bit of a self-check-in. I had a very fruitful life. My parents came over from Mexico, and I myself was born in Tijuana. So just knowing that there was something that I can do for our country, right, and serve, and nobody in my family did. So I had a recruiting station right across the street from work, and I just one day said, that's what I'm going to do. And I walked across the street, walked into the recruiter's office and said, hey, his name was Sergeant Park. Still remember him to this day.
Wow.
I'm not here for travel. I'm not here for school. I'm here to serve. And the Marines is the hardest one, so this is the one I want to do.
And what were you doing right before that? Like, what was your job right before you became a Marine?
I was a technician at Pacific Bell.
Okay.
Yeah, Pacific Bell.
And then one day you're just like, I'm going to go in there and see what they're about?
Pretty well. I mean, it was funny because I already had my mind made up.
Okay, so you knew.
I knew already, like in my heart, I already knew. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I knew it was going to piss off my parents, but I did it anyways.
And so how were you in your mid-20s or how?
I was probably around 20 when I got in. Yeah. About 23. So, it was a little bit different. I had a little bit of I had another perspective that, just being and working for Pacific Bell and kind of understanding some corporate structure and stuff like that. So it wasn't like I just got out of high school and joined.
Totally.
So it was a little bit different for me. So it was fun.
Yeah. What about you, Mike?
I was 17. I enlisted right out of high school.
And did you know earlier that like maybe the beginning of high school or when did you know, hey, I want to join the Marines?
Yeah, probably my senior year was kind of like, all right, I, wasn't a great student and wasn't thinking I was going to be successful if I went to college just because I wasn't really enjoying school. Marine Corps ran in my family. Lots of people in my family served. So it always just kind of seemed to be my path. Went and talked actually to the Navy recruiter first, and then ultimately ended up in the Marine recruiting office. And Yeah.
So after you
signed
talk to the Navy recruiter
Yeah.
and then you go talk to the Marines, you're like, dude, those Navy guys, what they were telling me.
They couldn't give me the job I wanted. So I was like, nope, they couldn't guarantee me anything.
If they could have, you think you may have gone Navy?
I may have. I mean,
but
again,
Gerardo, can you believe he's saying that?
You know, I will say that what you do in the military is very important in what your decision making would be in there, because
Right.
you're trying to look at this, you know, what value am I going to have once I get out? Like, what can I use this for once I'm out? And initially, I was trying to be an airplane mechanic. That was my primary goals. You know, I wanted to work on planes.
And do you talk about that when you're in the recruiting office? Do they ask you, hey, what are some of your interests, or where would you like to go?
we take the ASVAB, right?
Yeah, we take the ASVAB.
So it's an aptitude test.
Kind of like a placement test?
You take an aptitude test, right? You get scores in different areas, and then they open up the big book of jobs and say, hey, here's the jobs you can pick from. Here's the ones you don't qualify for.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So when you took that test, where did you decide like you wanted that to be your specialty?
I want to say when they described what 3rd Anglico was, the unit that had the opening for that position. And Anglico is Air Naval Gunfire Liaison Company. And when I was talking to the recruiter broke it down, and they're like, hey, you know what? There's some badasses here. So I was like, well, you know what? I didn't want to settle for anything less, right? So it was kind of a good fit. I enjoyed it.
And I feel like you led us right into one of the most interesting topics is boot camp. As you guys sign up and now you are going to enter becoming a Marine, and everybody knows that is the hardest, right? Boot camp. Maybe would like if we had a guy from the Army here, would he disagree with that?
I would say that every branch outside of the U.S. Marine Corps holds the Marines at another standard. I do believe that all boot camps and all trainings are difficult, and they're supposed to be, right? But I believe that the unique part about the Marines is that Marines are always trained to be riflemen first. So we're trained to fight, and then you learn how to do your job, right? And I think that's something that kind of sets us apart.
That's the point of all points.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody say that, Gerardo, and you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
That is true. We're right. I'm not a mechanic, and then if I have to, right, I can pick up a gun. It's like, no, I am,
Yeah.
Dude, that's
rifleman
cool.
first, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So
you guys get in there, you're pumped up. You're probably like, were you preparing for boot camp? Like maybe, you know, when you sign up, how long from when you sign up to when you deploy to boot camp was that? Like, is that 2 or 3 months, or is that like a couple of weeks, or is that like a Friday to Monday?
honestly, it was pretty quick for me.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, you were grown at that point. You didn't have to wait. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
you're like,
did.
I'm ready to go. Like,
Yeah.
when's the next?
What's the next, rotation? Let's
Yeah.
go.
So what about you, Mike? Was it?
For me, it was, I was still in high school when I
Yeah.
enlisted. So,
So you
at
already
17,
enlisted.
Then I was on like delayed entry. So I had to
Yeah.
wait like whatever was like the 9 months. And then from the time you sign up to the time you go to boot camp is based on when your schooling starts. So Gerardo schooling, he has to wait for that opening. And then from when that school starts, they start backdating it saying, okay, you go to boot camp on
Yeah.
this
Got it.
day
Yeah.
to graduate, to go into a school. Because they don't want people waiting around with nothing to do.
Right.
Idle hands, right? Like it's never a good thing.
So from the first day you showed up to boot camp, was there a moment when you were like, oh, this is real. This is not, this is legit.
You know, it's funny though, right? Because I mean, it always starts with a bus ride, right? And depending on where, what boot camp you go to.
Yeah. Where did you go? What was your?
So I was over here at MCRD in San Diego. So
Mike, you got to do the MCRD, like for the people out there that don't know.
MCRD, Marine Corps Recruit Depot. There's San Diego and there's Parris Island, East Coast and West Coast. And it's east of the Mississippi or west of the Mississippi, depending on where you are when you list.
Everybody
That's
goes
where you
there.
exactly
Got
right.
it. Yeah.
And they're both unique in their own ways, right? I mean, you go to Parris Island and you hear about the humidity, the heat,
Sand fleas,
Sand
crocodiles,
fleas, all that good
alligators, all
stuff.
that stuff. Yeah.
And then out here, MCRD, they tend to call us Hollywood Marines for whatever reason. But I mean, if they've gone up the Reaper or Mount Motherfucker, that's a whole different story.
Right.
Yeah.
So even within the Marine Corps, there's a little bit
for
of
sure.
a little bit of rivalry. Let's say
Parris Island Marines kind of claim to be just a half a tick tougher than San Diego.
that's that
Marines.
East Coast mentality, right?
And we may give it to them, to be honest. Like it's, the weather here is mild. Like I
It's a
get it.
good point.
It's different.
Yeah, it's a little different. But, I mean, even being out there for about 4 or 5 months. I mean, it was pretty miserable.
So did you have that moment of this is serious? And I would imagine being in boot camp is being in boot camp, no matter who you are. Did you have a moment that you can recall where you were like, okay, here we go?
So the first night, you step on the yellow footprints and you enter the doors that you're only going to pass through one time. I would say for about 2 days, they intentionally keep you awake and you do not sleep. And I think that's when it actually hit me, when I was like, "Oh, they're keeping me awake and they're not letting us go to sleep. What is this?" You know what I mean? So at that point, I was like, all right, it's here. It's here. It's on. Right? You take away my sleep, it's on.
Yeah, you can starve me or anything else. Don't take away my sleep. What about for you, Mike? What was your...
From the time the bus stops, right? Drill instructor, the bus pulls up. We got there at night. It was dark out.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we're pulling up. Everyone's talking a big game, like all these guys are, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And
I'm going to punch the drill instructor, gets in my face.
just everyone's trying to be super macho, right? Like, we all think we're Marines already, having no idea what we're about to get into. So the bus pulls up, it's dark, and it was like out of the movie. Like, we're all kind of looking out the window, and there's this parking lot, and you can see a drill instructor standing in the dark, and there's like a spotlight on him, and he's got, the Smoky Bear, and you can't see his face because the shadow's covering it. And as soon as someone's like, look, and we all look, and all the shit talking stopped.
Whoa.
And it was like, it got real. So it gets real quiet. The bus pulls up, drill instructor gets on, and he's like, I'm drill instructor so-and-so, blah, 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 blah. And he gives you this speech, but it's very curt and short and direct. And he's talking with a purpose. And you're like, uh-oh, okay, this guy's scolding us. So you're kind of listening. And he finishes his 4-minute speech, of which I remember nothing. Then they always end the same way. And it's like, get off the bus.
Yeah.
So you run off the bus and you stand on these yellow footprints, and they give you another speech, and, they're telling you how it's all going to go. And they're talking a mile a minute, and they're amping up the stress level.
Mm-hmm.
So from the time you get off the bus, your stress level is high.
Dang. So it is right
Within
on the jump.
I mean, you're pretty much, it's like an assembly line, right?
Yeah.
You get there and there's already an agenda, and it's boom, 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 boom. Like, there's no stop. After that, for the 3-month evolution, there is no stop.
the very first 10 minutes, they shave your head. At the 20-minute mark, we're all standing in this room, filling out some paperwork. They all make us stand in formation and strip down. Now, mind you, I'm 17 years old. I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. I am now standing butt naked in this room with 60 other dudes, and we're all really close to each other, and you're standing at attention, you're out there. And that is the first moment where they start breaking you down to say, it's not about you or your feelings, because stress is high. I'm really uncomfortable because I've never been in a situation like this. And they are purposely stressing you to the point where you're like, okay, maybe I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But you kind of get through it. And then every day they ramp it up a little bit more and ramp it up a little bit more. And it's all by design.
Even that first phone call home, remember that?
Oh, the scripted phone call.
Oh my goodness.
What is that?
Basically, you just have to get on the phone, call whoever it is, and you hope someone picks up.
Is this day one, or just, hey, I'm still alive type thing?
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, basically that's the call, right? I'm safe, I'm here. I don't remember the exact words, but basically that's all I said.
It's 3 sentences.
I'm here, I'm safe, I love you, goodbye.
Yeah. Boom, next. Next.
Not they're so mean. I want to go home. Come save me. None of that. No. They're not having it. And the drill instructors are screaming and yelling, and then
the whole
start
time
making your calls, and they're listening, looking at you, and you're kind of talking. And
right.
And you're getting yelled at too while you're talking to your relatives. They're like, oh my God, what's going on? You're like,
okay.
I'm good. I'm alive.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. When you see these guys that maybe aren't handling it as well, does the whole platoon help them, or they're on an island?
The one who is the weakest link, the whole platoon pays.
Damn. So
right?
It really is like that.
Yeah. So, there's small moments. I mean, because boot camp is so high paced, and there's always everything's always by the numbers. So to be able to focus a little bit more attention to somebody who's struggling is difficult, but you end up finding little bits and pieces or little moments of time to be able to square somebody away. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I think at first, those first 3-4 days, everybody's in survival mode because nobody can keep up with the pace. Some people adjust a little bit faster, and those that are struggling, again, super high stress, people are screaming and yelling, you're making decisions, and people's brains just wouldn't keep up with that pace. And then they would kind of fumble, and it's like, uh-oh, what do we do?
Yeah.
So usually the guy on the left or the right would be like, hey, oh crap, let me grab your cover because you dropped this, or let me, let me help you put something away because we got to go because we're all going to get in trouble. And again, I think that's by design is, you go to combat, right? You're really relying on the guy to the right and the left of you.
Yeah, you're only as good, right?
Correct. So it's, again, not about you, right? It's about the mission and what we're trying to achieve. So again, every aspect of boot camp is scripted and has a purpose. When you're going through it, you do not realize. Looking back, though, we can see every single thing that they did, from the most outlandish, crazy stuff that we went, it all has a reason behind it, and it's been paying dividends for 250 years.
Definitely. So all you guys are going through boot camp, but does a hierarchy develop within the platoon?
I think initially it's just happenstance, right? They were like, hey, you're going to go ahead and be the guide. Your platoon, you're going to be leading this platoon, or, I'm sorry, squad leader.
Yeah.
So you'll be like, oh, you got squad 1, squad 2, whatever. Squad 3 was always like the ones that struggled a little bit because they kind of hid behind 2 rows, but you weren't able to be seen from the back. So, that I was a squad leader for 3rd squad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of fun that way. But as time progressed, the drill instructors they're very connected with every single person. So even if you have a platoon of over 90 people, we get assigned a senior drill instructor, and then you get your green belts, right? So usually for us, we had 3 green belts and 1 senior.
So the green belt's like an assistant drill instructor. Drill instructor's the same, but he's not the guy in charge.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and the senior drill instructor is the one with the shiny black belt, right? So and usually they're staff sergeants, and then the other, the green belts, they're sergeants. But they're very, very connected with every single person there, and they start learning personalities. They're really good at reading people. And then as time goes on, then they're like, oh, you know what, Mike, I see it. You know what, you're going to be the guide. And then they put you there, and then they fire you right away just because they're trying to prove a point. But then he gets back to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So when Gerardo says, like, they connect with everybody, they're not like sitting down and asking about your feelings. Like, they don't talk to you.
They're not doing that?
No.
There's not a safe space they bring you into?
They're evaluating every single person under stress or whatever, and their mental notes, like, okay, that guy there, like, he's got 2 extra seconds to help the guy next to him. Okay, noted. Right. This guy struggles. He's not going to make it.
Yeah.
They pick really who's got potential to lead and who is struggling, and they will put you in positions to potentially succeed or fail based on the program.
No, that's cool. I mean, again, when you're in the thick of it, you probably don't notice it.
No.
But I do, again, that's why I asked that question. I just imagine there's so many things going on within the thing that's going on, right? That once you get out, you're probably like, oh my God.
They tricks too, right? So
like what, for example,
we'll be standing in the barracks room, everyone's standing at attention, and the drill instructor screaming and yelling and throwing stuff and just trying to get over on everybody, right? And he'll be on the other side of the squad bay with his back to you, right? And we're standing there, and of course all the windows are closed. They probably got the heater on, like everyone's starting to sweat. And the guy next to me has sweat dripping down his face. Now, again, we're all young kids, right? It tickles your face. So what do? You go to wipe it away. But God forbid you lift your whole hand up. So this guy thought he was going to be slick. So he's standing there at attention, and he does like the shoulder brush, just like that. The drill instructor, who had his back to us on the other side of the room, immediately turns around and power walks right over to us.
How do you think?
Gets in this guy's face, screams and yells, may have brushed up against him rather abruptly, we'll say.
A little extra love.
A little physical love coming his way. But yeah, so you quickly learn, like, oh, that son of a gun was looking in the reflection of the window at the platoon, waiting for someone to move.
Right.
And then flipped out and then went over there. And then we all learned the lesson, like, hey, even when I'm not looking, I'm looking. Right. Like, you were not supposed to, break attention. Like, you're at attention until I tell you otherwise.
Yeah, you can't lose your bearing.
Correct.
You can't lose your bearing.
So again, everything had a purpose, but it also instilled freaking fear in everybody, because we're like, these are like freaking superheroes. Like, who's this wizard who can see without looking at us?
Right.
Yeah. And our drill instructor, any drill instructor, and what's kind of nice about like sharing the experience, right? Not all boot camps are the same for everybody. So like each platoon, there's companies that are involved. And so everybody.
So a company is 4 platoons.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
All right. So we were Fox Company, right? Platoon 2053. Staff Sergeant McCullough was our senior drill instructor. I still remember all that.
Damn.
Like, it's been ingrained in my brain.
That is,
What
exactly.
platoon number?
2053.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So even, did you have like a little mantra or a chant for yours?
We were platoon 3041, India company.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
And then what's bigger than the company? So 4 platoons in a company, and then you get to
Like,
a brigade or something.
battalion.
A
or something.
battalion.
Yeah, battalion.
Battalion.
Then
And
you
then
have, like, the battalion
within a
chiefs.
platoon, there's typically like 4 squads in boot camp anyway. 4 squads.
Mhm.
So you break that platoon up into 4 equal parts, and each one of those is a squad. And then within a squad, you could have like a fire team, I think, right?
Yeah. Get your fire teams usually 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite war movies is Heartbreak Ridge. I don't know if you've ever seen this. Clint Eastwood. Okay, that, and again, it's campy and I know it's funny, but I love that character, Clint Eastwood, Gunny Highway.
Oh yeah.
Right? I love that. We probably watched that 100 times. So what was the Clint Eastwood character? Like, because he was that really tough and old guy.
Yeah.
He never really went up to the ranks because he was always like drinking, getting in trouble.
But Gunny Highway, it's funny because thinking about that, like there was a gunny in my unit that I can say kind of resembled him, as far as like attitude wise, leadership wise, a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
But when we were looking at it as a whole, Gunny Highway's method wasn't necessarily bad. I mean, look at it. He got everybody in line.
He did.
Yeah,
he took that ragtag group and, by using live ammunition or whatever, getting them to believe, you're right, they actually became a platoon.
I forgot about that scene. That was a good one.
Remember that? All right. The other guy that comes to mind is Black Hawk Down. Again, another great urban warfare. I love that movie. And I think it's Tom Sizemore.
Yeah.
He was, when just that character, they're rolling through in the Humvees and he gets out and that guy is 0% worried about catching a stray at all. He's
doing his job.
Doing his job. Like not, and again, I just like, that is the most badass dude. But again, is that I feel like that's an accurate depiction. These guys are like that. They're just like.
Well, that's Army. Black Hawk Down would have been Army.
That's all right. You can still comment on Army guys.
No.
But
Right. I mean, important distinction. But yeah, I think guys that are in combat are, at that point, hey, I'm here to do my job.
Right.
It's funny because Sizemore kind of did the same thing in Saving Private Ryan. Like
he did.
100%.
He played that role.
Yeah.
He's in a couple of movies.
There is a sense of, I guess you can say, what is it, desensitization? Right. Where when you first get into, let's say, a conflict or whatever, right, and things kick off, obviously that first segment of it is going to be nerves, anxiety, fear, everything, right? And then as time goes on, you kind of build a little bit of a callus to it. And I think he was there. And the reason why I say that is because I remember times where, we would get incoming and we would just be like, okay, well, that's a little far away. And we really didn't stop playing cards. And then after a while, you kind of hear like, man, they're getting smart. They're starting to bracket us and it's getting a little bit closer. And then once we kind of got to the point where we're like, let's go ahead and find some cover right now because they're getting a little close.
Right.
So yeah, there's a little bit of that. And it's funny because we do get to that point after a while. I mean, you could be driving a convoy and, after a while you're taking shots and, you're just like, all right, well, I'm just going to punch it a little bit faster. There's really nothing I can do. And, I think it's in God's hands at that point. If that bullet's meant for you, it'll hit.
Right. So as you're going through basic training, at what point does it start to flip and say, hey, you know what? I'm not just this guy that's getting beaten down every day. And you know what? I'm actually becoming a Marine. I
don't know. Maybe for you, the experience might be a little bit different, right?
I'm sure it was. I was young. What's your answer?
For me, it was when the Crucible ended. And the Crucible is just the last evolution of boot camp. And, you're faced with a whole bunch of challenges for, I don't know, was it like 2 days straight? Like a 48-hour thing? And
you go out with your platoon, like you guys are all together and basically you're putting in play everything you learned.
And you have to get through all of those things together as one, right?
Yep.
And the final part of it is you're going up the Reaper. And
so the Reaper is just a really, really big hill in Camp Pendleton.
And the hill looks like it never stops, right? Like you see the end and you get up to the top and you're like, oh crap, there's still more to go.
There's more.
And you just keep going and you go up as a platoon, right? And the moment you cross the crest, the highest crest, and then you hear the music, at that point you're like, okay, I did it.
Wow.
I did it. But it's not done yet, right? You still got to get your EGA handed to you in your hand. And I can tell you that's probably one of the most emotional moments
I can imagine
I've ever had.
So EGA, Eagle of an Anchor, it's the Marine Corps emblem. Mine was different, right? So, boot camp's broken up into 3 phases. That first phase is like they're teaching you and breaking you down,
Right.
taking away self. You do a lot of silly games, a lot of push-ups, a lot of screaming and yelling. After first phase, that you go from the Marine Corps Recruit Depot in San Diego and you relocate to Camp Pendleton for about a month. And that's like your first exposure to combat training. So they issue you a rifle, and that's where you start learning how to shoot. And you spend, I think, 2 weeks on the rifle range. That's where things kind of lightened up, right? And I think by design, because the drill instructors really don't want to be stressing out people with live ammo, right? At this point.
Facts.
So it's like, okay, like they're still smacking you around if you get out of line and you do stupid things, but they're not trying to screw you up just to screw you up like
Right.
they were in phase 1. You learn how to shoot. After that, you qualify, and then you actually gear up and you go out in the field and you like theoretically kind of play like war games for 2 weeks. Entry level, this is how we go on a patrol. This is how we react to an ambush.
Yeah.
You dig foxholes. You get to play like Army we did when we were little kids. Like you get to kind of do it for real with
And at
Marines.
that point, they're actually training you.
That's
It's
when
not so much like
there's still
a
some
little bit of that
there's
hazing.
still some hazing going on. They're still kind of
It never
rough.
stops.
But that was the first point where it's like you kind of felt empowered, like, dude, I'm kind of doing something really cool, and this is bigger than what I thought it was going to be. And you start really getting into
Right.
what it's going to be like, God forbid, if we have to go to war. And then third phase is always all the knowledge and training and passing like written tests and understanding, and then getting ready to graduate, get your Eagle Globe and Anchor, and then go learn how to do your job. So for me, it was about halfway through second phase. Like when
Yeah.
we were actually in the field, it was like, okay, like let me stop and look and be like, hey, this is really cool what we're doing. I'm not scared anymore
Yeah.
like I was the first 6 weeks.
Yeah, I would imagine that, right? I mean, there has to be. They can't, just pop somebody out and expect them to go be a Marine, and if you don't have that transition.
Oh no, it's a science. Making Marines is a science.
Hey, they've
It
had
is-
250 years to, figure it out, the blueprint.
They do it pretty well.
Yeah.
Very, very psychological. That whole process is very
Right.
psychological. They know it.
All right.
Yeah.
So on that, what is your craziest experience?
All right, here we go. I'll have a couple, but I'll share this one. I remember our drill instructors telling everybody to get online. Get online means that you stand at the POA, right? Position of attention.
Are you in the barrack or outside?
We're inside the barracks.
Okay, right.
And, there's bunks, right? So you have 2 people per bed, and everybody had to get online. So we got online. So we're all standing at the, POA right there at the edge of the beds. And, we get told everything by the numbers. And I remember our drill instructor saying like, okay, take off your blouse right now. So everybody's taking off their blouse. Take off your trousers right now. Everyone's taking off their trousers. We're stripping down naked. And so they got us naked.
Uh-huh.
And then eventually they're like, okay, jock straps on right now. So everyone runs, gets their jock straps on. So now we're standing there in just jock strap, right?
Old school.
Old school. So we're at attention like that. And then they would tell us right face. So you make the maneuver and you do a right face.
Uh-huh.
And then once we got there, they were like, okay, bend over right now. So everyone hip hinged, went
Yeah.
down. And then all of a sudden they're like, all right, tighten it up right now. And then everyone starts kind of running into each other, face up right now. And then all of a sudden you have someone's butt right in your face. I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
So I kept
You're a
I
little bit
kept the
older.
distance.
Yeah.
I kept a little bit of a distance.
Yeah.
The guy behind me didn't know. I felt his nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty wild, man. I felt the nose.
And then do they just go dismiss? Like, do they then leave? Or how does, I wonder, like, does that just,
I don't know how they keep a straight face through all that because they don't laugh. Like the drill instructors
Right.
won't laugh. They'll put you
Right.
through whatever crazy stuff they want to do,
yeah.
and they just maintain
Yeah.
this
complete-
stoic.
Did you ever
posture.
see one time where they cracked? Like, did you ever see that? Like, we're just a snicker, like a fraction of a fraction? No?
Never.
What
You
is-
did. You were
Pugil
lucky. Oh,
sticks.
that's a unicorn.
Pugil sticks, right? So phase 3, we're fighting with like giant Q-tips, and they call out, different platoons. So like recruits that you don't know or you're familiar with, and they would match people up. So they would get like the biggest, baddest dude from one platoon. It was like gladiators essentially, like the drill instructors calling out their badasses to see,
Right.
who's going to whoop who.
That was in Heartbreak Ridge.
So they
Yeah.
get on there and they do the Pugil sticks. Well, just for fun, one drill instructor called his badass, and then they called like the littlest, smallest, peon, weak guy out of our platoon, and they went up there and, the big guy went to take a swing, and the little guy just cowered like, I can't.
Yeah.
He thought for sure he was going to get just
Just-
crushed. The drill instructors, They didn't smile, but they instantly grabbed the bill of their hat and pulled it down and turned away because they knew like, oh, I am not going to keep a straight face, because that was hilarious.
Yeah.
So that was the closest we got to actually seeing a drill instructor smile, but it was pretty close.
Yeah. And what was your craziest?
You know, there was a bunch of like
Funny,
humiliating
weird,
stuff like that went on. And it's funny. Well, before I answer that humiliating stuff, like people may listen and get upset and say like, there's absolutely no reason that they need to humiliate somebody in that respect.
Right.
What's interesting about boot camp, and specifically the Marines, is we're all trained to go to war, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're going to war, you're going to be asked to do some pretty heinous stuff, right? And the whole reason behind boot camp for the Marine Corps is to break you down so that you don't question orders. Because in the split second where they tell you, I need you to do this, I need you to run up that hill as the bad guys are shooting machine guns at you, and I need you to go kill that guy. If I had half a second, be like, I'm probably going to die if I do that, so I'm not going to follow that order because it's about me. The thing with the Marine Corps, it's the instant and willing obedience to orders. Is, I'm going to tell you to do this, and you are not going to think you're going to do it because you trust your leaders, and we have a mission to accomplish, and you don't matter. Only the mission matters.
Right.
So hearing these weird, crazy, what we look back as funny, and most people would be horrified if they're in that situation. We look back and it's like a badge of honor because we understand why it was important and why we did that. The closest I ever came to experiencing when I thought I was going to die was in boot camp.
Oh.
So in the gas chamber, there's like, you know, you can watch movies and I have the internet to prepare, whatever. And I had a couple of kids that were older than me that went through boot camp, you know, as, you know, a couple of grades ahead, and kind of told me that, you know, this is what's going to happen, and kind of prepare. No matter what they told me, I was not prepared for the gas chamber. So you go into, they give you your gas mask, and they say, you know, like Gerard was talking earlier, gas. So they're preparing you for why this is important. So you get this gas mask and you all line up, and there's this little tiny shack, right? And this little shack,
like a porta potty size? Or?
No, this shack is a little bit smaller than this studio.
It's like a 10 by 10.
It's real small. Yeah. And they'll cram like 30 dudes.
Oh, damn.
In this 10 by 10, like all just lined up shoulder all the way around. So we're all standing there and we're waiting our turn. So, you know, one squad goes in one squad goes in. We're going to be the second squad. And you're just watching, and all of a sudden you see like smoke kind of come out the side. Like it looks like a house that's on like just catching fire, where smoke starts coming out of like a little window, except there's no windows. So you kind of see like smoke coming out of these little gaps, and you're like, okay, like this is fine. Next thing sounds like they are all being tortured. Like you hear people screaming and wailing, and everybody is losing their minds. And you're like, oh, like I'm getting a little anxious. Next thing you know, they all go running out the back. You can't really see what's going on. They're like, next up. So we go into this room, and you go in there, and it's small. There's like one little light, so it's kind of dark. And in the middle of the room, they got a little sterno with a little tiny pan. Then this guy takes a couple of these little like aspirin pills, and he puts them on this little pan, and smoke starts coming off. Now you put like, I don't know, 5 or 6 of these little tablets in there, and it's smoking.
Right. And
so, you know, like, okay, this is CS gas. It's like tear gas. And they tell you, you know, what's going to happen. Like it's going to hurt your eyes. It's going to hurt your nose and your mouth. Anywhere you're sweating, it's going to start to tingle and burn. So you're in there, and your armpits and your crotch start to like kind of catch fire a little bit. You're like, okay, this is uncomfortable. So everyone has their gas mask on, and the drill instructor says, okay, when I stand in front of you, you're going to take your gas mask off, and you are going to say like your social security number and like what MOS, what job you're going to do. And he's going to go one by one all the way around the room. And when he gets to the last guy, everyone can put their mask back on.
So you have to keep it off the entire time?
You have to keep it off.
Oh.
So, and you don't know where he's going to start. Thankfully, like, I think I was like in the middle. So I'm like, okay, well, so everyone has the same game plan. I am going to say whatever I need to say, and you have to look at him, say what I'm going to say, and then I'm going to close my eyes and hold my breath and hope I can hold it until he gets all the way around.
Oh, right.
That plan doesn't work. So he does the first guy, and he starts going down, 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 down. He gets to the guy next to me. I'm like, okay, my time's coming. Now, I went to boot camp with a guy that I knew from high school, right? Shout out to Kevin, cool guy. He's standing next to me. So he gets to me, I lift my gas mask up, I open my eyes. Instantly, it feels like someone put a fiberglass insulation in your eyes, like pins and needles. It all starts running. You say what you're trying to say. And then right as I say what I'm going to say, I'm like, I got to take a breath. So I take a breath. I suck the gas in, which instantly causes you to cough. So what do? You cough out all your air. Once all your air is out, what do? You take an even deeper breath in. Now shit just goes sideways. Like there's no oxygen in here. I'm going to freaking die.
Yeah.
So what do? I reach for my gas mask and I go to pull it back down, just instinctual. I'm in pure survival mode. Drill instructor's like, nope, ammo. Hits me, my mask goes flying. My buddy, who was actually went before me, I had him on the wrong side. He went before me. He was doing great. He said his piece and he was holding his breath.
Yeah.
He sees me get slapped. He kind of laughs. Ha ha ha. Takes a. So now he's fucked. He's coughing. And you just have to survive all the way around. Like,
Wow.
I think I was like this close from blacking out the whole time. Like, seriously, thought I was going to die.
Oh my gosh.
And it was just tear gas at the end of the day. It was not that big of a deal. It was freaking miserable.
So you guys just fall and roll out of that.
So they open the little back door. You run out and try and like
have to flap your arms, right?
Put your arms out like an airplane, just trying to get all the gas off of you.
Yeah.
And then after 5 minutes of coughing and snot, you're kind of back to normal.
Right.
Yeah.
You feel good.
Freaking sucked. To this day, the gas chamber was. I went to the gas chamber when I was in the fleet, like 2 years later.
Oh, and you're like, oh, whatever.
I was like, and I was scared. They're like, oh, you got a requal gas mask. I was like, son of a bitch. Like that. I was like fearing it. So we get our gas mask. We all go in there. I'm in the air wing. Like we're kind of soft anyway. So we all go in there and like our gunny has one tablet and he puts it in there. And like we take our gas mask off. We're like, yeah, this kind of sucks.
Right, yeah.
But not realizing that the drill instructors was using like 5 to 10 times what we were supposed to.
Like at that point, they're not trying. They just need to check that.
Dude,
okay, they did
check the box.
Yeah,
right? Like,
hey,
we put him through this misery.
Correct.
We got him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, so remember swim qual?
Oh, yeah.
How did that go for you?
I could swim all right, though. Like I used to like to swim as a kid. So for me, it wasn't too difficult. Yeah. For some people, they didn't know how to swim. And so swim call, you go to this big pool and everybody, the first thing you do is jump off a high dive and we're going to figure out who can swim and who can't.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
And if you can't swim, guess what? You're jumping off the high dive. And so people jump in and flutter around at the bottom and they jump in and rescue them and you go sit on the side of the pool. Like there's no like, hey, can you swim? Can you not swim?
Right.
No, we're going to find out.
We're going to find out.
Oh yeah.
And there's levels to it too, right? So like you jump in first, let's say full uniform, boots and stuff. And then I'm trying to remember it as best I can because it was pretty wild. So we jump in and then you have to swim across the pool and it's an Olympic sized pool. So it's not a small pool.
Right.
And then you get into the next phase of it where you're expected to, now you're wearing Kevlar, you got your rucksack, you got all your stuff. And then I remember having to pull somebody with me and get across the pool. And then the final evolution you get to where you like swim qual 1, you kind of have to, I don't want to say fight somebody underwater, but you're pretty much, you're wrestling a full like marine diver underwater. And these guys are like, I mean, you're talking about a fish or they know how to swim.
Right.
Like they know how to make.
And what are they trying to do? Drag you down or just?
So it starts off with them at your back and you're just treading water. They don't tell you when then they're going to come up, but they come up behind you and they pull you down.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a specific technique that they teach you to be able to break away from that. Well, I ended up kicking him in the nuts. Kind of made him upset. He let me go.
Yeah.
And as I was coming up, I saw the water line I'm getting there. And then I went to gasp for air because I saw the edge of the water and this dude grabbed me, pulled me down like I was nothing.
Gee.
And then all of a sudden I just inhaled nothing but water.
Right.
So at that point I started drowning. I was like, oh, I'm in
for
trouble.
sure.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. I remember that. It was good times, man.
As if swimming wouldn't be difficult enough with full gear and boots and everything else. Like
Air, land, and sea.
Yeah, right. That's crazy.
Yeah.
We'll take a quick break and we will be back.
All right, Mark, what'd you think of that Beechwood Electric Limbs Hazy?
This is a great hazy, 6.5%, super easy to drink, which I feel like all of Beechwood's beers are very accessible. They're not going to blast you. They're not too hoppy. They're not too juicy. Why I love this is it's just super easy. Yep. You can drink it on, if you just want 1 beer, 2 beers, right? It's a hot day. This is great for a hot day. It goes down really smooth.
Yeah, entry level hazy, I would say.
It's
super balanced.
Great entry level.
Fruity on the front, not super bitter on the back.
Yep.
I really like it.
You had me at 6.4.
Big thing, because a lot of people attribute IPAs with 7, 8, 9,
Yeah.
10%. And there is a whole group in that 6 to 7% range that, you can have 2 or 3 of them and, you're not going to have a hangover.
No, I mean, it's a smooth drink, though. I mean, it's
easy, yeah.
It goes down easy, and it seems like perfect on a summer day at the beach. Yeah.
And sometimes hazies can get too sweet, and
Yeah.
you start to like sugary sweet.
Yeah,
This
right.
one doesn't do that.
No, this is really good. Okay, so we're gonna rate this thing. So here's the rules. Mark's not super excited about them. We rate them 1 to 10. I'm of the opinion you can't rate anything a 7 because typically people are like, oh, that was good. So it's always a 7,
All
right?
right.
So is it good enough to be an 8 or is it in the 6 range? And we'll do points, right? So Mark, you can lead us off here. 1 to 10, Beechwood Electric Limbs.
But I would say this, right? If I'm being honest to someone that's watching, I would have this beer all day long. I'm not going to say it's a top 10 beer, but it's also much above, the 5s and 6s because we've had a lot of those. They're just dogs. I would never recommend them. Recommend this all day long. If you had to push me, I would go 8 because I think it would tip more towards that scale.
Yeah.
Gerardo?
I agree. An 8. 8 sounds good. I mean, drinking it, it's smooth, it's refreshing. I don't get that weird aftertaste. So it goes down real smooth, and I can see myself enjoying this like during summertime or even just chilling in the garage.
Because you're right. The aftertaste does, I think, a lot of people don't like IPAs because of that. They don't like that aftertaste.
Right. This one doesn't linger. It's super clean on the finish. I really like this. Like, this is really in my wheelhouse.
Nice.
Like, I would give this an 8.9
Awesome.
all day long. I highly recommend if you haven't had this Beechwood Electric Limbs, you should try it.
All right. I agree.
Well, you're here.
Welcome back from the break. There's one more question I wanted to ask the both of you. So, going through boot camp, experiencing all the craziness that you guys talked about, the getting beaten down, all, the good, the bad, the ugly. What is the one thing, if you could go in right now and change one thing about boot camp, what would you change?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I think.
You think it's just perfect, the way they have it, the way they, from start to finish?
I think they got it dialed in. I mean, we got to also remember, I think things have changed since we've been in. So for us, I mean, we weren't considered like the old core, like, we have our more tenured Marines, right? Where they've gone through a little bit more than we have. But I feel like my experience was exactly what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say my experience was everything it was supposed to be and then some. I know when we graduated in dress blues. I know they made a change at some point. Did you guys graduate in blues or in service?
No, yeah, no. Only the guide
right
got to wear blues.
So they changed that. I don't really dig that so much because like that was the epitome of the proudest moment when you were graduating and you're standing in your blues for the first time. Like, I think it's a step up from just being in your service alphas. So if they could go back, if they could make one change, not from the time that I was in, but when they took that away, like I think having every Marine who got through, you got your Eagle Ribbon Anchor to stand there in your dress blues just is a half a notch higher.
Best dress uniform, by the way, from all branches. I'm just going to say, for sure. Everybody knows that. For sure. And any branch will
What
agree.
about the Air Force?
No.
Oh,
no. You're saying no?
What's the worst?
I'll just say Army. I just don't.
What's theirs?
Don't
Green?
dig it.
Is it just green?
It's a black blouse with green
blouse.
I think.
Hey, I like how you guys go blouse.
No. So okay, so this is, Jordan said it earlier. He said take your blouse off, and most people hear blouse, they think women.
Like,
blouses.
I thought you were in like a smock, like when you're in the.
So your camouflage utilities.
Yeah.
That overshirt is called a blouse because underneath is your skivvy shirt.
I feel like, Mike, the one thing you should have clarified out of 25 episodes would be that.
That was it. Yeah. So all the over shirts are called a blouse because you're typically wearing an undershirt underneath it. So it's common.
Pants, trousers.
Yeah. If it's not tucked in, I think it's a blouse because like your deltas are tucked. So it's still a shirt.
Still a shirt. Yeah.
So you wouldn't even change having to put your face in another guy's ass.
I didn't do that. The guy behind me did. But you know what? I think it was just.
But now looking back, was that part of? Let me ask you this on that, right? Did you feel like this is just part of it, right? Like, okay, I get it. I understand why they're doing it. It's not that big of a deal, right? We're doing all these things. It's just another training exercise. Is that how you looked at all these?
I did. I looked at it as just something we had to do. I think my mindset was whatever whatever was going to hit was going to hit.
And there's a reason they're doing this.
And there's
like
a reason
you said.
for it. Yeah. And some people couldn't process that, right? I remember one time we had this guy actually get put on watch, suicide watch, because he was getting to the point where he was breaking. And, I don't think anything really prepares you for that, but I mean, it depends on your mindset. For me, I was just like, I'm ready for whatever's going to hit. And I think you touched on it earlier when you were talking about Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the one where everyone always says, oh, you want to prepare for boot camp? Watch Full Metal Jacket.
Right.
And then you watch it and then you're like, well, kind of, but not really.
Yeah. You guys all didn't grab socks with soap and.
No, not
like that. I think
not to that extreme, but we had people in the platoon who were failing by choice, not failing because they couldn't.
Okay, see, that would be a problem. So, I think when you have, however many other men who are
correct,
right, that's legit.
The whole thing with going through boot camp is you are capable of so much more than you realize,
right?
And they are not going to allow you to quit because it's too hard, right? You have to at some point just embrace, I'm going to get bigger, faster, stronger, better, smarter. I'm going to get through this as long as I don't quit. So they will make it tough for you. They will make it very difficult for you. And the bad eggs will weed themselves out in one way or another. But ultimately, if you're not going to benefit the Marine Corps, they don't want you.
Right.
Right.
Like, exactly.
We don't have a draft. We only want people who are going to be successful and do a good job.
And I would imagine if you're a drill instructor, is that a huge commitment for these dudes?
It's huge. I think drill instructors are a whole different breed of person.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, they're invested massively.
But they are also the role models that everyone looks up to.
Yeah.
And that to us is who a Marine is, right?
The epitome of a Marine.
And
totally.
I will tell you that drill instructors are the highest level of Marine discipline that we can, as an example, that's it. I mean, there's no more.
You don't realize it at the time, but those guys are doing every run. Those guys are doing all the exercises.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
They're
doing it.
Putting you to sleep at night and they are waking you up in the morning, right? They're doing more with less and at the highest possible level. Yeah. Like their uniforms are spectacularly perfect. Enough can't be said about Marine Corps drill instructors.
Best of the best.
If anybody out there is listening and you know someone that was a former drill instructor, like mad respect.
Mad respect, yeah.
It is a breed that most people don't realize is so far elite.
Yeah.
Marine Corps drill instructor school is like going back to boot camp. So those guys, you'll see it. It's also at MCRD, the drill instructor school. We got to see them once. There was like 3 staff sergeants and a sergeant getting screamed at by a gunny. Damn. And they were learning to drill.
Yeah.
And they're all like in their drill instructor stuff, but they're going through the training yet again, but they're learning like all the psychological
you're right. I didn't even think of that. They have to go through training to be able to be.
Correct.
Wow.
Super hardcore Marine Corps drill instructors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you get through the entire program. And when you become a Marine, the feeling.
It was a sense of pride that I just can't explain. I remember the moment getting my EGA placed in my hand, and I get emotional now thinking about that. I remember tears rolling down my eyes when I got that. And
I bet.
And that's when I felt like, all right, I'm part of the brotherhood. Like, we're here. There's still more to do. There was a lot of training. We still had to go to MOS school. We still had to go to SOI or MCT. But at that moment, it's a moment that very few people get to experience, but it'll change your life forever.
17 years old.
Yep.
I stood there on the parade ground and he's, you get to the end and they dismiss you and everybody yells, hoorah, and it's over. Boot camp's over. You're now a Marine. And I remember standing there thinking like, I am the best form of myself that I could possibly be. I am mentally focused. I am sharp. I am empowered to do anything. Like I was invincible at that point. Completely drank the Kool-Aid. Like, the brainwash was still fresh. Like there was nothing I could not do. If they would have told me to charge that hill and take them, like I'm in, let's go. Yeah. And nothing was, I fully believed that I was going to win at everything I did from that moment moving forward. Like they are putting out invincible people. At 17 years old, there was nothing I could not do at that moment.
And then at that point, did you guys all go out and get drunk?
No.
No, so not even then?
At 17?
Yeah.
Where am I going to get drunk?
Dude, 17. Who cares? They don't they'll
I mean, once you graduate boot camp, I mean, you literally have, what is it, like a 48-hour turnaround?
That's it.
I think we had a couple of days.
Yeah, like 48 hours, right?
Yeah,
Or
I
72
think you probably
hours or
graduated
something?
like on a Friday and you had to report
Is
on a
that
Monday.
like a catch your breath thing?
So he said two things, SOI and MCT. SOI is School of Infantry. If your job is an infantry or infantry type, right? So if you're a mortarman or a rifleman or a machine gunner or anything infantry related, you go to the School of Infantry. That's your job.
Yeah. And then at that point, you start getting days off and you get a little more like you're a Marine now, right?
For
like you're not having to.
For us, because we weren't infantry job, we had technical jobs. We go to what's called Marine Combat Training, which is like an abbreviated School of Infantry. So those guys have an advanced infantry. We have an abbreviated infantry. So this is like every Marine is a basic rifleman. So we go to this, and I want to say it was like 5 or 6 weeks maybe at the time. And it's an advanced, like compared to boot camp. Boot camp gave you like your basic introduction. This is now more advanced. You're going to spend more time in the field. You're going to learn advanced tactics. You get to shoot a bunch of cool weapons.
Oh yeah, Mark 19 is my favorite.
Dude, mine too.
Mark 19 was my favorite.
So
what's that one?
Mark 19 is a belt-fed grenade launcher.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Wow.
I remember that thing. That thing was
badass.
Yeah. But you got your what? You got your saws, you got your 240 Golfs.
Yeah.
So
you get to shoot the 50 cal.
Yeah, you got to shoot the 50 cal, yeah.
Right.
So you get to shoot everything, take it apart, understand how it works.
Yeah. All right, so where do you guys want to go from here?
You're driving.
I feel like if we get into battlefield stuff, this will be a 6-hour podcast.
Okay.
Because I will ask you a million questions. So
I got nowhere to be, but you're driving, man.
Like on the deployment, though, that just fascinates me. Did you ever have a time when you were like, oh shit, this is right on us?
The first time I had a Scud missile fly over my head, and it was low enough for me to see the thing.
Where were you? Were you outside of?
We were in Iraq already, so we had already
you're in
crossed,
Iraq.
Yeah. And I remember hearing
Are you
that.
in like a convoy?
So we were staged. We had pulled over and we kind of staged up, so all the vehicles are lined up.
Like how many vehicles would be in that?
In ours, I want to say we probably had about 20.
Are there any tanks?
For us, it was just Humvees.
Okay.
But I remember we had pulled over. So you stop, you got to be ready to go at a moment's notice. So you stage up. And that was a Scud missile flew over, man. And I still remember hearing the propellant of that.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it was.
So it was like that low.
It was low, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Did you guys hear it explode or it just kept going?
It went a couple clicks down and it went off and it hit like a gas station. Yeah. So I think that was my first oh shit moment.
And what about like when you guys are driving, all the landmines, all those that supposedly are just sitting there waiting for a Humvee to drive over? Is that in your mind or not really? You're just out.
They tell you to be aware of it. And I think we all we knew the hazard was there, but as long as we followed the same tracks that we saw, we were pretty safe.
Right.
Right. The moment you go off path is where you don't know. If we know vehicles have already gone through here, we're good. And there was a couple of times we were driving next to a tank group, right? A tank battalion. And one of them actually ran over a mine and the tank, the track actually broke off. And we were like, oh shit. Like that was a moment, right? But then they were like, hey, can you fix the tank track? I was like, hell no. What do you think I got? I just got this little toolbox right here, man. I could take apart a Humvee with this, but
an armor.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But no.
Dude, was that like the Abrams tanks? Is that?
It was an M1. Yeah.
Yeah. Those things go at like 60 miles an hour. And I've never seen one. Like, have you seen one going full speed?
Are
they just ridiculous?
They're majestic.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're smooth. It's funny because they can be driving full speed, but their gun stays steady and it levels itself off. So you can be going over some whoop-de-doos and that gun will be trained wherever it needs to go and it stays put. It's a impressive tank. Yeah.
Yeah. I watched this documentary one time. They were saying, what could any country in the world withstand against our military at full speed? And it came down to China, which has the most, and it was 7 days. Like, that's how overpowering our military is.
When you look at our air resources,
right,
compared, if we dominate the sky, we dominate the war, we dominate the whole field, right? So I think that's the one advantage that we have is we have that air superiority.
Yeah.
And that's what, like you said, even if it was 7 days, it's still too long, but
right.
But it's
I think one of my favorite airplanes is the tank bomber, right? The
A-10.
Yeah, the A-10.
Yeah. Oh
dude,
my gosh.
That thing. Have you ever seen one of those fly?
Dude, those came in clutch for us sometimes.
Yeah.
when you start working with different branches and stuff like that, with Anglico, I mean, that's our specialty. Our specialty is we embed ourselves with other units, other branches of the military, other countries, and we tend to kind of coordinate that, like, the fire, whatever it is that we're doing. And so, yeah, there were times where an A10 would come through and there's a very distinct little whistle to it. But yeah, no, when that thing came through, we knew that whatever was painted was going to get obliterated.
Right.
Yeah. Those rounds were huge.
30 millimeter.
Yeah. I still have the shells, the casings at my house still.
Yeah.
A10s
But like
are-
when you guys have to call in something, what is it typically?
So it depends
What's
on
in the area?
It depends on the resource, right? Or what you need or what you're up against.
Right.
If you're looking for anti-armor or anti-personnel, I will say that helicopters pretty much did a lot of the work for us. Every once in a while, an F-16 would come in and drop some bombs, and then A-10s would come in and give us,
Right.
that support. But for the most part, I saw a lot of rotary.
But
I got to imagine those resources are rotating too. Like they can't stay on station
Yeah, no, they can't.
indefinitely, so they'll rotate out and something else will come in.
Yeah, and depends on what's available too. I mean, it's
Right.
not always ours. Like there was a time where we ended up having a casualty on my team,
Mhm.
and when I called the medevac, we couldn't get any of our people to come in, so the British actually came in and they didn't want to stop where we were, so they were like, "Hey, you got to head 5 clicks east because there's no way we're gonna drop in right where you're at."
Right.
So then we had to get my buddy, load him up, and then get him into a safe spot. And
I
then
mean, are
load
the
'em up.
Brits good?
They're pretty badass. Yeah,
They
the
are
Ro-
badass?
Yeah, they got some. So it's funny because we
Even though, all right.
no, there's some.
They're legit.
The Royal Marine Commandos, very
Yeah.
impressive.
Would that be like our Rangers? If you had
Be like Marines, I guess.
Yeah,
Marines, that's like
yeah.
their Marine division.
Yeah, and then they have their SAS, which is like their SEALs,
Mhm.
as Special Air Service, and then there's another portion of that they have, and I forgot what the name is, but
There's like special boat service or something. There's
SBS, I think it is. Yeah,
There's a naval component.
yeah.
One's like paratrooper, one's more amphibious.
Yeah, we had this one SAS cat that we would always. So he was kind of set up, and he set up camp a little bit away from us, and we.
What do you mean he set up camp?
So like we'd have like our little our little camps that we would set up.
When you're out in the field?
yeah, we're in the
Okay,
field and
yeah.
we're in Iraq, right? So
Right.
we would set up our little camps, and there was this one dude, SAS cat.
Solo?
Well, he was kind of embedded with the group we were with, so
Okay.
we kind of play this little game. Like every night, we would go and try to see what we can steal from each other. And I remember the time I really pissed him off. I took his favorite lawn chair and his coffee mug,
Oh,
and I was sitting there at my truck,
Yeah.
sitting there drinking coffee out of his mug.
Ooh.
I mean, he kind of knew,
Yeah.
he knew we were messing around,
Right.
but I think I won that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I feel like if you get a guy his coffee cup, that's
Oh yeah, no,
that's about
that was
as
a line cross,
yeah, that's as big as it gets.
but it was fun.
Yeah. But they were good guys.
Oh yeah,
They-
no, great guys. I mean, it was funny because some of those cats, when they would have like their patches or
Mhm.
whatever insignia they would have, and they always wanted to just share with us, like, here, take my patch,
Yeah,
do this,
lots of
do
trading.
that.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And so it was nice. And then some of them actually like prepared for this. I mean, obviously they probably had experience. So they would have their passport photos already printed out and cut. So when they would run into certain people out and, whether we were deployed or wherever, they would just be like, hey, look me up.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so I still have a couple of those papers
That's cool.
in my garage. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the one battlefield moment you remember?
I'll give you a funny one.
Okay.
That I was utilizing the restroom.
Okay.
All right.
Yep. So you're out there trying to,
leave my mark. But
Yep.
so it was funny because we have our fighting holes, right? And in that type of environment, like you can't really go far. So you basically dig a hole right next to
Mhm.
where you're sleeping and you use the restroom, cover
Right.
it up. So I'm going to the bathroom. Mind you, I took everything off. I'm sitting there, pants down, going for it.
Yep.
And then we start hearing explosions.
Damn.
And then somebody's like, incoming, and everybody's freaking out, right? So I'm like, I do, like,
Oh my-
it sounded close enough. Like I kind of did, oh crap. So I jumped into our fighting hole. And then one of my buddies, so Luis and Victor, those two guys are like my brothers. Those guys are the ones that I was with most of my deployment. And I remember Luis jumping on my back, mind you, hands down. I'm not clean.
right.
Yeah.
And this dude jumps on top of me, opens up his flak jacket, puts it over my body,
Wow.
puts his leg over me to protect me. And I remember that moment. And that's kind of when I knew, like, yeah, those are my brothers forever, man.
Right.
There's no
For
way,
sure.
there's no way around that.
Yeah. He didn't even think twice.
Yeah. And then we find out, once he's on top of me, pretty much covering, one of our staff sergeants comes up and he's like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah.
And then we're like, didn't you hear that? He's like, yeah, that was EOD. They were just detonating some ordnance.
Oh, damn.
And it wasn't even incoming.
Yeah.
And so we were just like, man, but yeah, that was.
But I feel like that's got to happen, right?
Yeah, you have little funny experiences like that. Yeah.
So when you're out there, did you ever have one of those situations where you didn't sleep for days or you didn't eat for days?
Yeah, the advancements that we were making were incredible.
Okay.
I mean, we were actually moving a hell of a lot faster than our supply, people would be able to come up and help us out, right? So all that support was way behind. We would have moments like that where, water was low, food was tight. We had to kill a goat and just
Eat them?
Yeah, eat it like that.
It's like, what does it taste like?
It was gamey because we didn't season
gamey,
it.
a little
It
gamey.
was just we let it out and then we started chopping it up and cooking it.
Yeah. Mike, do you want to say something to the PETA people that are watching?
No. There's a reason that we were blessed with thumbs and we're the apex predator. So everything is on the menu.
Yeah.
We all got sick after that, though, just so you know.
Really?
Yeah, because it
like
was
sick isn't throwing up or just went right through you?
So both.
Both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
both. And but it was because at that moment, we wanted to eat,
Right.
and just got to do it.
Yeah. All right. So what was your favorite weapon?
I'll say it's a top two. So Mark 19 and the Madus.
Nice. And what's the Mark 19?
The Mark 19 is the automatic grenade launcher. It's belt fed. And you're looking at a 30 millimeter, projectile that comes out of that. And it's funny because it's
the size of the mic.
Yeah.
Damn.
And you hear it like when you hold the paddles down, it goes, it's automatic. So you hear it go, boop, 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 boop. And then say later, you let 5 go. Yeah. You wait. And then you hear, that was awesome.
Right.
And then, shooting the automatic 50 cal was right up there too. Cause that's going to go through whatever it is that you're aiming at.
Right.
Yeah. Those are fun.
Yeah.
I went to Battlefield Las Vegas and there was this, like an old veteran and he walked in and his thing is like, I want to shoot the 50 cal. And they do that indoors there, which is absolutely wild. Yeah. And the guy that was with him, like the range guy, he was like, hey, do you want to get familiar with it? And that old dude, I remember I saw that guy, salty veteran. He was like, nah. He's I used to do this all the time. He's I know this like the back of my hand. And sure enough, man, he just went for it. You can actually see the percussion inside because it's indoors.
Right.
So it was wild in there, but he only let go about 4 shots. And I would say that was probably about, I don't want to say $25 a round, maybe.
But yeah.
But though, yeah, 50 cals
Not
are fun.
cheap.
50 cals are fun.
Yeah.
Automatic 50 cals are fun.
So I have to ask you, did you ever hear of any type of super weapon?
I think, if we want to talk super weapon, that would be the U.S. Marine.
Yeah.
So, yes.
So the U.S. Marine is a super weapon.
Yeah, there we go. The U.S. Marine is a super weapon.
All right. Fair enough.
But I'll say this. We had an Army PsyOps guy that was attached with us. And what he would do is he had a vehicle that was equipped with speakers. And what he would do is he would just kind of post up somewhere and then he would play what sounded like a gunfight. And it would be like an M16 or it could be an AK or whatever it was,
right,
depending on the scenario. And it would kind of draw people out for us if they were hiding. So he would simulate a gunfight.
Right.
And if it sounded like an AK-47 in that area, then people would tend to kind of come out a little bit more because they understand that's the sound of their weapon. So they would be like, okay, you know what, we can kind of come out, and then that would make them vulnerable for us.
Right.
And then, so that I would say the PsyOps portion of it was something that I would have never thought of until I was in war.
Right.
And then when that came out, I think that to me was a super weapon because it was all psychological. I mean, it was just playing on the minds of our enemies, and it worked. It was very effective.
Well, I mean, speak to that. Is there a fatigue to war? Right. So when you're deployed and you're on this constant, I would imagine you're like 120% just focused, you're dialed in. Everything is so life and death all the time, right?
I think it's different for everybody. I know for me, there was a lot of disconnect in the moment, and then once moments ended, things would rush in, right? Like the body starts feeling the stomach uncomfortable, the throwing up, the adrenaline dump, right? I would feel that after the fact, but during certain moments, I would feel calm, collected, but then I would kind of get that residual after. But your body does get, it gets told after a lot of that. If it's day in, day out, I'll say this, it's not like for us, we didn't go out on missions every single day and do all kinds of crazy stuff every day. I mean,
Right.
there's groups that did that, and hats off to those guys. But even the stuff that we did, as an Anglico unit, yeah, it did take its toll, where you can see that, you've been going days without sleep and you're tired. But
And
I think that's why I think Mike and I can say, like, when you asked us, like, what do you think, what's one thing you would change about boot camp?
yeah,
And I said nothing, because everything is geared towards muscle memory, right? So they want to make sure that you're able to function in those moments, and you know exactly what to do in those moments, right? So the training kicks in, and you just go to work,
right. Yeah.
right? And then, the part that they don't teach you is, once you're done, the training's still there. The emotions, everything still kicks in, but
Right.
how do you turn that off in the normal world? That's the part we don't teach.
Yeah. So when you do get back to the base and you have a certain amount of time off, is it a decompression?
There is. I mean, there's times where we come back and let's say we'd get a little bit of a break, come back to Kuwait, and we'd be at Camp Doha, or Camp Commando, I'm sorry. And we'd go in our tents and kind of relax a little bit, watch our DVDs. But we get the opportunity to sit there,
Yeah.
kind of.
And like, just did that seem kind of like normal?
I will say that it was a very welcomed calm,
Yeah.
right? I got a chance to stop, read the letters that my wife and family sent,
Right.
see the pictures of my son being born, because I was deployed when my son was born. So my friend Nico actually sent me a bunch of pictures of my son
Oh, that's cool.
at his birth. So I was able to sit there and just kind of take a look and actually take that in and process that.
Right.
Like, if this happened, because in the moment when you're in harm's way, you're kind of struggling to stay alive, right? I
Right.
mean, it doesn't mean that you have to be getting shot at all the time, but you have to be ready, right? It's almost like you
Well, I
have
would
to
imagine, right, no matter where you are, if
Yeah.
you're deployed wherever, you're right. You're
Yeah.
at your 100% focus, just all of that, and then if you do get back to the base and you get a little time, like you were saying, you get a little bit of reprieve
Yeah.
to be able to, okay, a little bit of normalcy.
Yeah, a little. I'd say that one time we went back to one of Saddam's palaces, and we were in the banquet hall, and there was music. We had some Coke.
Yeah.
Coke, like, for us, that
Right.
was like a luxury, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
I feel like Mike wants to do a clarification here.
Oh no, Coca-Cola.
yeah, Coca-Cola, yeah.
Coca-Cola,
No,
yeah.
but
In Iraq with all my
Right?
Right.
You're like, dude, are they like just
Right.
doing
I
lines
mean, it
off
is Saddam's
of...
palace. I mean,
Yeah, there
you
could just
never
be,
know.
dude, fucking
Blow,
eight
that's probably
balls
where it
right
is.
on the banquet thing.
yeah.
But was that a surreal moment? Like, I feel like that had to
It
be
did.
like one of those, like, just whoa.
It
Like,
did.
I'm in Saddam's palace,
Yeah.
and right?
It was, and it's funny because he had like a little amusement park on the outside. I mean, it wasn't being operated, but
Yeah,
just to know that you were by a pool
right.
and you were eating normal food and
Mhm.
having soda, it was surreal, because that wasn't the norm, right? I
Right.
mean, we were used to drinking hot water, and I'll say this, my wife was awesome. She would send over care packages, chicken tortilla soup that was instant, like a cup of noodles from Trader Joe's.
Mm.
Man, I was
Wow.
trading that like cigarettes, like if you were in jail, man. And then she would also send over a bottle of Listerine, which it wasn't Listerine. I got to find out what it was when I saw the little sticker on the bottle.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it was some Bacardi, sometimes it was,
Ooh, nice.
yeah. So we,
See, I knew that stuff got in there.
yeah, no, it does. It does.
I knew that got in there.
I'll share how badass the Brits are too. I mean, they actually
Yeah.
had a C5 Galaxy fly in, and that whole thing was stocked with Stella.
Oh, dude, the
Like,
Brits drink.
I mean, Stella
Oh, yeah.
to the
Nice.
to the
That's
T.
cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I remember them bringing them out, and they were like, "All right, everybody gets 2 beers."
That's cool.
So we
Yeah.
went, got 2 beers,
Right.
changed, went back, got another 2 beers,
Yeah.
put on something else, went back,
Best
got
beers
another
you've
2
ever
beers.
had? Were they the best beers still? Like,
They
you
were
can,
warm,
you
but
can
yeah,
remember
they were
this.
good.
Yeah.
They were good.
I feel like a warm Stella in Iraq is better than any beer you're ever going to have.
It was
here.
good. It was good.
Yeah. But I feel like that's cool, right? That's things you remember within the chaos of everything and the brutality, right? There's still like some cool memories,
Oh yeah,
right?
there's a lot of and I think it kind of makes it to where, you get a lot of people that come back PTSD and
Right.
there's issues, but you wouldn't take it back.
Right.
Like I would do that all over again a million times if I
Right.
had to, because it was a surreal experience. I mean, you're talking about emotions magnified 100 times. So
Right.
joy magnified by 100, sadness magnified by 100, fear magnified by 100. So I mean, you experience that, and then you kind of come back home and you kind of feel like everything's slow motion a little bit. It doesn't, like your norm level kind of got
Yeah. It's like
thrown
when you're
off.
walking out to your driveway to pick up the paper, you're kind of like, yeah, this is it. Like
Yeah,
this is,
So when we were in the military, did a really bad job. They're just like, okay, good job, you're done. Go home,
yeah,
process out. You're going back to civilian life,
Mhm.
and like people have a big time problem downshifting,
mhm,
right? Since we've been in, I understand there's huge strides now where you come out of a combat role, you go into like this decompression. There's like training. There's you talk to specialists that deal with how to kind of deprogram
yeah,
what your new normal is to transition back into a civilian life. I mean, veteran suicide through the roof, right? Guys
yeah,
don't know how to decompress appropriately.
yeah.
So it is a big deal that hopefully the military is starting to finally get right, but it's taken them a long time.
That and just knowing the resources available, right? I mean,
Right.
the VA system is out there. And unfortunately for me, like I didn't jump into that until years later where I had to find out the hard way to get there. So yeah, I mean, it's a journey, right? I mean, we can do, I think now they're doing a lot better, but I'll say just kind of like what you said, Mike, for us, we came back and it was like, all right, well, you're home, go back to work.
Right.
And I remember when I got home, it was wild because I hadn't even met my son yet. And I get home, my wife runs out and she leaves the kid on the table, like he's in his little bouncy thing on the
Yeah.
table. And then she runs back in, oh my God, I forgot, so she goes back. But
Right.
in those moments, it was different. Like I didn't like seeing the greenery on the side of the freeway, seeing the different color cars, like all of that was very overwhelming to
God, that's so
process. You know
true,
what I mean?
right? Even like the basic
The
things we
basics.
just take for granted every
Mhm.
day.
Sitting in that, and I remember I went all out. I got myself a nice Lincoln Town car, like this one I'm taking from the airport back. Man, I was just like, "What is this, man?"
Yeah.
I'm either used to like a busted up Toyota Corolla with one orange
Right.
door, or like a Humvee. You know what I mean? That has
Yeah.
no
Orange door,
space.
fantastic.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you're right. You just kind of get thrown back into the general pop,
Yeah,
right? And it's like, okay, carry on.
yeah,
Yeah.
But I do see that. I mean, again, a couple of my buddies have totally dealt with PTSD. And I think, yeah, you're right. It's such an extreme environment you guys are in. And then, yeah, just boom, now you're back in just this everyday normal
Well,
life.
now there's so many groups that are out there to help, right? So like Veterans Coming Out have set up a bunch of
yeah,
organizations to help veterans. There's
Right.
there's government funded ones, there's privately funded ones. If anybody knows a veteran or is a veteran that needs help, please Google, find somebody to talk to. There's a bunch of them out there. Please reach out for help. You're not in it alone.
They got the crisis hotline. They got vet centers and the VA hospitals and medical center. I mean, you can, if you wanted to. I mean, now, I mean, you can get the help.
Right.
So it's
Did
good.
you think guys, just by our nature, we're just, oh, I'm fine, right? I'm tough. I've been a Marine or whatever. Like I don't, if I reach out, then I'm a lesser person. Or is that stigma kind of gone?
I think most people's strength is also their weakness, right? So
Right.
what makes us great at what we do is, yeah, we are tough and we can take it and we can go through the adversity.
Yeah.
And then we're really bad because we think, well, we can just keep going through it. And all that stuff should only be for a season,
Mhm.
right? And then you have to decompress. You have to
Right.
understand how to cope.
Yeah.
And really the strength is in asking for help and not going through it by yourself.
Yeah.
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 It's my opinion.
That's a good opinion.
Yeah.
All right.
So we don't normally do gifts for guests, but I do have one for you. So my son got his Eagle Scout this past year.
Oh, congrats, man.
So I got to, be a part of the troop and help out. So one of the campouts, they did the flag retiring. And so they, honor all these flags and people donate them and like, hey, I got this torn flag. I need to get rid of it. What do you do? So typically you can, you can do a couple of things with it, but one of the common things is you find your local Boy Scout troop and give it to them, and then they will dispose of it honorably. And so they take these flags and they have this big giant bonfire, and they'll bring the flags out, they unfold them, they display them. The troop salutes them. They'll usually say like the Pledge of Allegiance.
Nice.
They'll refold the flag, and then they'll put it in the fire and they burn it. And it's honoring the flag, and it's very cool. And they had an assortment of flags. One of the adult leaders, Mark Boyce, who's been on the show, is smart enough he wires up the flags. And so after the flags are burnt and the fire goes down, he can dig his wire out, and he has all of the eyelets for the flags, and he passes these out to all of the scouts to give to veterans when they run into them. So
that's cool.
that's an American flag that was honored by the Boy Scouts, and that's for you.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So kind of a cool thing. And
Yeah.
it's just a little keepsake.
Cool.
It's just, American
No.
flag. It's a little
This
patriotic.
is yeah, no,
It's kind of cool. Yeah.
beautiful, man. Thank you. That's pretty kick-ass, dude.
Yeah. I know. I always wonder, like, what do you do with an American, like, what should you do? If you just have it out, like the one I have out in front of the house, eventually it'll get faded.
Yeah, faded or torn if it's no longer in a state where you can fold it and you can keep it, but if it's time to get rid of it, you don't want to just throw them away. So typically donate it to the Boy Scouts. So you can Google your local Boy Scout troop, just contact them, call them. They'll probably have someone swing by and pick it up, and then they will dispose of them in that honorable ceremony that they do.
Yeah, I mean, there is flag etiquette is big, right? I mean, you can go as far as like just even making sure you have proper lighting on your flags, if you have your flags out. But yeah, retiring of a flag is big, right? So like, I'm sure there's a lot of people with flags that they want to retire sitting in their garage,
right?
Like myself,
right?
Having to just hold on to them because I don't want to,
right?
I don't want to disrespect our flag,
right?
So I'm kind of waiting, but I might drive them over to you, man.
Yeah, no, totally. The Scout troop, it's cool for the kids too, because they honor it, they understand it. It's kind of no longer just, the thing that I do a pledge allegiance to in my classroom. Like, it's an actual real thing now.
Yeah.
And so being a part of it and then getting to hand the eyelets out to veterans was super cool. They actually retired a Marine Corps flag. Somehow someone donated one of those. It was all torn and ripped. And so they put it up and nobody really thought about it. So they get to it was like the, 15 out of 25 flags that they were destroying. And so they get to it and they just start, they're like, I pledge allegiance to and there was like this pause and someone's like, Marine Corps flag. And they kind of fumbled through and got through it because they didn't know what else to do. And it was kind of funny, but they honored it and
should have given them a pamphlet with the Rifleman's Creed on it.
Exactly right. Yeah.
This is my rifle.
We could have gone sideways really quick on that. I was kind of curious what they were going to do, and I was just a spectator. I was just observing, but yeah, they rolled with it. Yeah.
That's cool, man.
I always wonder, when you guys are active duty, does who the president is, does that really matter or no?
I mean, what you're doing is you're really going for your brothers and sisters, right? And so the people that are fighting alongside you,
right?
That's what you're going for, right? Whether you agree with the politics or not.
But does that come into play? The cause, the reason?
It doesn't, because the situation won't change. I mean, if this campaign is going to take place, it's going to take place.
Regardless,
right? But the people that are next to you are the ones that make it worth it, whether you agree with whatever the terms are of that campaign or not.
Right.
The people next to you are who you are really fighting for. That's where your heart's at. I feel like when you actually take a look at our military, right? I mean, everybody's ready to fight. I mean, you're talking about an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right. You give us a chance, we're gonna execute, and we'll deal with it later.
No, it's a great point.
Right?
It's a great point.
But it is one of those things where if you give the opportunity to fight, then that right there makes the time in.
It's interesting because some people don't understand, like, well, why would you want to go fight? Like, that doesn't make sense. Or like, Marine, like, all I want to do is deploy, like, send me overseas and put me to work. It would be the equivalent of being a professional athlete, but you only ever practiced. You never got to actually get into a game, let alone the Super Bowl, right? So I practice. I'm an expert at what I'm doing. I'm ready. I am the best I can possibly be, and then never getting a chance to use that skill. Regardless of your skill, if you're in special forces, or if you're a cook or a truck driver or an admin, everything they're doing, everybody has a role to play. And so when the United States decides, hey, I'm sending in my military to accomplish X task, everybody has to play that role, from the guy in supply to the pilots, to the infantry, to the mechanics, to everybody. We're all there to support the effort to achieve whatever that mission is.
Yeah, because I mean that's that's the point, right?
Well,
Of the deployment.
That's what we signed up for.
Yeah. Yeah, I've just wondered that, right? If you really know it's some bullshit thing,
yeah.
but you have a job to do.
It's usually in hindsight when we realize it's bullshit. Like going to Iraq for weapons of mass destruction, like years later we realize like, that might not have been really all that it was cracked up to be.
Yeah.
I know.
At the time, they were there thinking, hey, this is what we got to do. And these guys are bad and they're breaking the rules and we're here to set them straight.
It's funny you say that. I actually have a patch that says maybe the WMDs are the friends we made along the way, you know, but yeah, you're right. Hindsight 2020. Right. And it's funny because sometimes like for us, we had one mission that we were told pretty much right off the bat, you know, take a look at the person next to you. They might not be back. They might not be there when you get back. The acceptable casualty rate for us to take that airstrip was 70%.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
So you were looking at it from that type of mentality where like, damn, dude, 70% of us are going to die.
Right.
I mean, but I'll say this, you know, it didn't turn out that way, of course, right? You know, we were all good that base, everyone had already scattered out because they already knew we were going to go blow the shit out of it.
It's funny too, is everybody that heard that pep talk thinks like, well, I'm in the 30%.
Yeah.
Right. Again,
Yeah.
You're invincible.
You're
like,
invincible.
Yeah.
It sucks for the 70% of you that aren't going to make it because everybody thought, I'm going to make it. Of course I'm going to make it because I'm the best and I'm going to do my job.
But, you know, I do feel that every branch does have, you know, has a job to do and they do it well. And there's no question in that. But if talking shit wise, you know, like, I mean, the Army and Marines always go back and forth. Army aren't real Marines yet. And then everyone
acronym aren't real Marines yet.
And then the everyone always says, oh, the Marines are the Department of the Navy. And we always come back with the men's department, you know, so there's a lot of banter between, but
God damn,
was it Marine?
Good.
The acronym for Marine is my ass rides a Navy equipment.
Probably. Yeah. When the Navy comes in, they're like, oh yeah, we're this and that. No, you're our Uber.
Okay. So let me ask you this. When you're there and you guys are on the base, is everybody, all the different branches interacting with each other, or the Marines here, the the Army's there, or is it just kind of like, dude, we're all Americans, we're all armed services?
Yeah, no, we got to spend time with everybody.
Cross-pollinated?
Yeah, we did. So we hung out with Army dudes, we hung out with Navy dudes, British. I think in those moments we would just look at each other and be like, dude, I know you got my back.
Right.
And I got
For
yours.
Sure. 100%.
And if it meant that one of us has to take it for you, like, well,
and I feel like
job.
that's the proper answer, right? That's what should happen.
Yeah.
Even the British guys, right? Like they're part of the team, right?
Yeah.
They're part of, and the fact they're flying in Stella is legit.
Oh, dude, 16th Air Assault. Shout out to those dudes right there.
There is a theory though that any base that Marines are on is now a Marine base. Like we don't really respect other branches when we're on their base. Like,
what do you think that is?
We just kind of claim it as our own.
Yeah.
When I went to Japan, we were at Kadena Air Force Base, and it was like, you know, this is the Air Force way of doing things. We're like, yeah, we don't care. Like we're the Marines.
So you're
we're
like
here.
the Vikings of the.
That's just our mentality. Like wherever we are, like this is ours. Like we've conquered it. Like just get out of the way. We're taking this over.
Right.
And like Miramar was a perfect example. Miramar was a naval base.
Yeah.
And then the Marine Corps came here like, no, so it's a Marine Air.
Yeah, it's a Marine Corps Air Station.
It's an air station.
We're going to change it.
We're taking it. So that's just our mentality is like, we're just going to take over.
Right.
But, you know, love to all the branches. Everybody's doing their part. Everyone's got a job to do. But the Marines we're a little cocky that way.
Yeah.
Well, I think what's cool too, you got to see all the different branches working together.
Yeah.
Right. Which that is the armed services, right? It's not, you know, even though we have the different branches, they are one unit.
Right.
It is one,
one team.
It's one team.
It's one team. I mean, we do different jobs, specialize in different things,
right.
But ultimately our job is to win.
Right.
And we do.
Yeah. So Mike Band, what does the term Semper Fi mean to you?
Short for Semper Fidelis. Translation is always faithful. So you can use that in any way you see fit, really, right? So always faithful to your fellow Marines, always faithful to the Corps, always faithful to yourself, to your God, right? It's living a life of faith, right? It's knowing what's right and what's wrong and holding to that belief system. You know, the once a Marine, always a Marine, like that's kind of what it's about, is we are always faithful to what we know to be right. So, we know the difference between right and wrong. We protect those that can't protect themselves. We should be striving to always make the right decisions. I mean, everybody falters, but that's what's instilled in us, at the very beginning of boot camp, and that's what we try and hold to till our last breath. If you had said, if there's an alien invasion, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to go grab my rifle and I'm going to go find like-minded people and go back to work. I mean, that's kind of what we've all sworn an oath to do. And that oath doesn't end when you get discharged.
Right.
So trying to live by the same type of creed that we all adhere to at a younger age, and just carrying that out through our whole life as best we can.
That was beautiful, man. I
Right.
think you answered that question for the both of us, dude.
You have to top that. How are you going to top that?
I cannot top that. I mean, that right there encompassed everything that it does mean.
Right.
Right. I mean, there's a standard that is held by a U.S. Marine, and that standard is higher than the norm. So dude, Mike, you couldn't have said it any better, man.
All right. So let me ask you a little broader question. What does being a Marine mean to you?
Oof, it's part of my identity. Like, it's part of who I am. I'm a husband, a father. I'm a God-fearing man, but I'm also a U.S. Marine, and I will be until the day I die. So on November 10th, on our birthday, I will be turning 250 years old, and I wouldn't change that for the world. That's a brotherhood that I'll tell you, as far as the people that I've served with right now, if any of those guys called me, and what was that movie, The Town?
Yeah.
That says like, hey,
right.
we're going to go do something bad.
Yeah.
Can't talk about it later, whatever.
Yeah.
Whose car are we taking?
Yeah. Whose car are we taking?
Right.
I would,
Yeah.
that is what being a Marine is. There's a brotherhood above regular reality that exists.
All right. So let's switch it up a little bit. So Mike, what is your favorite part of being a Marine?
I would say I'm proud that I volunteered. I'm proud that I got through the training. I'm proud that I earned the title of United States Marine. And I honestly didn't really appreciate it until like recent years, like as I'm getting older. When I was in active duty and I was very proud to put on the uniform and do everything that I did, and it was great. And then I got out, and I always struggled when, you'd be at an event and they would say like, hey, we want to recognize the veterans, and everybody, all the veterans, please stand up. And for some reason in my mind, I always equated a veteran to a war fighter. And I wasn't. I was a jet mechanic, right? And I deployed overseas, but not to a war zone. And I really wanted to honor those people that fought for our country. And I didn't feel like when I joined, it was post Desert Storm and before we went back to Iraq. So I was in this weird, we were at war, but it was really peacetime. And I always felt like a little bit of imposter syndrome, right? When we had to stand up and people would clap for you, because I felt like I didn't deserve that piece. Like, save those applause for guys that actually fought. Like, those are the deserving veterans. And it wasn't till recently when I kind of made the realization, like, everybody has a part to play, whether you're the cook or the mechanic or the admin guy that paid people. Like, without any of those people, the military can't survive. Like, those are all essential cogs in the big machine. So no matter what your role is, if you join the military, and I heard this somewhere, this isn't my quote, but when you join the military, you are writing a check to Uncle Sam that is up to the cost of your life, right? They get to do whatever they want with you. Like, you're signing yourself over and you're saying, hey, if you want to cash this check for the amount up to including my life, that's your check to cash. So everybody that signs on the dotted line that's accepting the possibility of being put in harm's way, yeah, they should be honored, because not everybody does that, right? So to all veterans out there, yeah, I applaud everybody that's joined. I always look at everybody else as more deserving than myself when it comes to that stuff. When my son, he had his Eagle Scout deal, they did that. It was actually the VFW, Veterans of Foreign War, were there giving out a certificate, and they said, hey, we want to honor all the veterans. And there was 150 people there. And nobody stood up. There wasn't a single person. My wife's elbowing me. And so, dude, I stood up, and I was like the only one in this auditorium, and everybody starts clapping, and like super awkward and like not really my wheelhouse. Like, I don't really dig on that too much, but it was just interesting. Like, that's when I realized, like, oh my gosh, like, how many people don't actually join, right? It's one thing to be at like an Angel game and, 100 people stand up.
Yeah.
but to be the only person in an auditorium that actually said, yeah, if you need me, like, I'll go.
Yeah.
And it was at that moment, it was like, okay, like, this is okay. Like, you're not an imposter. Like, you did what you were supposed to do or what you thought was right. So yeah, in hindsight, looking back, I'm proud of my service. I'm proud that I did it. It's not for everybody. And yeah, I don't know if that was the answer you were looking for.
That was beautiful, man.
That was the exact answer.
Okay.
Michael.
Fair enough.
That killed it right there. I mean, because it is true, right? I mean, when we sign up, yeah, there's some people that are loud and boastful, right? But for the most part, we want to serve with humility, right? There's humility there. And so when they ask veterans to stand up, my wife is the same way. She's like, get up, get up. And I'm like, no, I don't feel deserving of this.
Right.
I don't feel deserving. But when you look at it, no, yeah, you're right. Because we all signed that same dotted line saying that, you know what, I'm willing to give my life for this country and I'll do it. And I still will. You know what I mean? So that right there was on the money, man.
If they called you and they're like, Gerardo, can you give us one more? Can you give us 4 plays? You would go?
Initial answer would
no,
be yes.
Right now.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right
I'll
now.
go.
47 years old.
I don't care. I'm good. I'll do it. I'll do it.
I can
My
give
wife
you,
might think something
I
different.
can give you 5 or 6 plays.
I'll say this. I mean, I'm 47. A lot of these kids that are out there fighting, you know, they're younger, you know, they're 18, 19.
Right.
They're not even old enough to drink.
You know, what position would you want to be?
So I'd go back to Anglico and I would do fire control. Just call for fire all day. So Anglico, air, naval, gunfire liaison. So that means that we can call for fire from artillery, naval guns, rotary, fixed wing, whatever it is.
So the Marine Corps birthday is coming up. What does that birthday mean to you?
The camaraderie. I mean, when I get around my brothers, the guys I went to war with, there's no better feeling. I mean, I can tell you that, and it's funny because my wife tells me, if I'm around my brothers, I light up in a whole different way. And that's not to take away of who I am outside of that, but there's a different reality that we experienced being a Marine, and that will never leave you. And the bonds that you make in there are forever. So when you give me a Marine Corps birthday to celebrate, I'm celebrating with them, and we're gonna do it right.
And have you been someone?
So the first Marine Corps ball I ever been to, I went without dress blues. I went in a tuxedo. My wife and I attended that ball. And it's kind of funny, right? I never really went to a Marine Corps ball while I was in. I went after the fact.
Yeah.
It's always nice to see everyone get together because everyone is like-minded. Everybody is just as twisted, just as crazy, just as wild as you are, right? And you get all these people in one room, and then you try to follow tradition, right?
There's a lot of tradition.
The 3 main components of our Marine Corps balls, right? You have General Lejeune's message, right? Cake cutting ceremony, where we have a guest of honor who gets the first slice. And then you have your oldest and youngest Marine, and that's to share the tradition and wisdom that gets passed down, right? And then after that, you have your commandant's message, right? So those are the 3 like structured traditional parts of the ball. But outside of that, dude, they get wild, man. And you know what? It's a beautiful wild because we're in this circus that only we get to belong to.
So all Marines eat cake on the birthday. Like, that's a thing, right? Even if you don't go to a Marine Corps ball.
Yeah.
So every year, November 10th, my wife will make sure that she stops, and it could be a freaking.
You get a sheet cake?
It could be a hostess cupcake. It could be a full sheet cake. Some years she makes a cake.
Right.
We always have cake on the Marine Corps birthday. She goes out of her way to ensure that we have a bite of cake. And if you're in a group, every Marine will always recognize the oldest Marine and the youngest Marine present for the cake ceremony. POWs during Vietnam made a little makeshift cake out of some flour and stuff that they could scrounge. And, you know, there was Navy and Air Force and Marines. They all got together and they made their little makeshift cake and honored the Marines on November 10th and recognized them even in captivity. So the cake to a Marine on the birthday is a big deal. So if you know a Marine out there, right, always wish them a happy birthday on November 10th. And if you wanted to kick it up a notch, give them some type of cake. And it
All
could be
right.
something simple as a hostess cupcake. I mean, you don't have to get
And-
extravagant, but you give them something that says, "Hey, happy birthday. I understand you're supposed to have cake
Oh,
today."
yeah.
That is I think the best way you could honor a Marine is on November 10th with that gesture. It's a
Yeah,
big deal because
it is.
there's a lot of Marines that don't, like, they let it go, and that little reminder coming from somebody, I think, really hits home.
It's true.
Kind of sparks up a little bit of that passion again,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
But I always wonder why, like, the other branches don't celebrate like us. Why?
I don't know.
Man, that is a great question.
You never hear about a soldier getting all excited because it's the Army birthday.
No, you
Like,
don't.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I would call people and I'd be like, "Hey, happy birthday!" And they're like, "Oh, what is that all about, dude? Like,
Yeah.
Right.
that's a you thing." I'm like, "Hell yeah, it is."
It's just not a part of the culture
Yeah.
for some reason. Yeah, seems like a missed opportunity.
Yeah. Well, I think the Marines are the most badass of the branches,
I
right?
agree.
No, but I mean, that's
I
not
agree.
even, that's not just, I feel like everybody would recognize that.
I feel like if you really take a look at it, I mean, when it comes down to like recognition,
Mm.
reverence, and all that stuff, the Marines kind of
Right.
we take that.
Yeah.
We take that. I mean, I understand that every branch has a specialty.
Right.
Everyone does it right.
Yeah.
No one, we're not knocking it.
Right.
But for whatever reason, the Marines are just the most badass. And that's just it.
What separates the Marines?
I think what separates us is that we're just a little bit more crazy than everybody else.
Right. Could be the crazy.
We're just a little crazy.
Yeah.
But
Come on.
it's the legend, right,
Yeah.
of the Marines before us. It's the battles that they fought. It's the things that they've done.
Yeah.
It's, the Marine Corps is, affectionately known as Devil Dogs, right? Teufelhunden. That's from the Battle of Belleau Wood, where the Germans got scared because the Marines were coming in so crazy, and they were like possessed dogs. They were just ravenous and taking war to them.
Mhm.
Like, it scared the Germans. Like, we wear that now as a badge of honor.
Yeah.
Like, none of us did that in the Battle of Belleau Wood, but we take what other Marines did and we try and build upon that. We say, look, this is what right looks like, and let's continue that tradition. So all the battles fought through history, the Marine Corps and boot camp, they teach you a lot about the history of the Marine Corps
I
and
still got my knowledge book.
why we are where we are today.
Right.
And we all take that to heart and try and build upon it and set the example to the Marines that come after us.
That's good, Mike. All right. So what else? So I'm just going to ask you a couple, like, closing. Anything else? Are you guys good? Like,
I've never been to a Marine Corps ball.
Oh, really?
Right before I got out, my squadron held a dining in, so a formal dinner for Marine Corps birthday. And that was the first time I've ever seen pilots like cut loose, because the pilots are officers, right? So like we always used to see these guys who were prim and proper, and they're our pilots and we take care of them. They were cool guys. But I remember sitting there with all people in my shop, all the enlisted, and the pilots are on the other side of the room, and people are drinking and it's getting crazy, and they have this big table in the front where the CO and XO and their wives are sitting with it. All of a sudden, a food fight breaks out in the officer side, and we're all kind of looking like we're all on our best behavior. Like, we're all wearing our blues and like trying not to get in trouble because we're amongst the whole command, right? If anyone's going to get in trouble, be the enlisted. Fuck, no, these pilots are drinking. They start a food fight. So we're all kind of looking like in awe, like, what's going on over there? And the dude is getting out of hand. Like, there's dudes standing up, freaking fastballing food across the table in other people's face. All of a sudden, the CO stands up and he yells out, "Major so-and-so, report to the head table." And there's one of our pilots in the back, and we're all looking. No one can see him. And he pops his head up and he said, "Aye, sir." And then he drops back down. Now, this dude is in full Class A dress blues. He's got medals and ribbons on his big fruit salad. We're wondering what's going on. This dude low crawled in his blues, which is not easy to do because it's a pretty form-fitting. So he low crawls up all the way across the ballroom, pops up in front of the head table. His medals and ribbons are bent and twisted and completely jacked up. I think he's missing one EGA off his collar. And we're just like, holy shit, look at this guy. He's freaking ripped. And the CO's like, "Major so-and-so, what is the meaning of this disturbance?" And he's like, "Sir, we were under attack." And he goes, "Explain yourself." And he's like, "Sir, I think you should arm yourself." And he drops like 4 dinner rolls down in front of the CO's wife. And the CO's like, "Thank you, Major, carry on." He goes, "Aye, sir." And he freaking drops back down and freaking low crawls away. And we're all just like dumbfounded, like, what is going on
that's
here?
cool.
They're just that's how Marines let loose.
Right.
Like, there is the official pomp and circumstance. There's all this tradition.
Right.
We love all of that stuff. But there is also like, hey, we're going to cut loose and have a good time. And it's okay to be out of regs for a night. And for all of us, regardless of rank, regardless of age, regardless of our position, to come together as Marines and celebrate who we are and what we're about. That was the one thing that I took from that night was, I salute these guys every day that I see them, right? Because that's my role as an enlisted and they're an officer, and they return the salute out of respect. But the fact that like that night, none of that mattered. He was a Marine, I was a Marine, and we were just going to have a good time, and everything else was out the door.
Yeah.
That guard doesn't come down very much. And that's what I think of, like, why is the Marine Corps birthday so important? Like, it's stuff like that where we remove all the guards that we have up for our proper military etiquette, and we can just celebrate each other.
Well said.
Well said, dude.
All right. You got some closing ones?
Geraldo, what does it mean to you to be a Marine?
The camaraderie, the brotherhood. I'm a part of something bigger. And that means everything to me, because that's never going to go away.
Right.
That's a forever thing. That's until I die. And then once I die, it's going to carry on, and it's going to go past me. It's going to go past the next generation. That's what that means to me.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. All right, Mike, take us out.
All right. Thanks for joining the YouShould podcast. Hope you learned something about the Marine Corps today. Thank you for Gerardo for coming in. November 10th is the Marine Corps birthday. If you know a Marine, please call them, talk to them in person, shake their hand, thank them for their service, wish them a happy birthday. And if you want to take it up a notch, go out of your way and give them a piece of cake. It will be much appreciated. With that, until next time, Gerardo.
Semper Fi.
Semper Fi.